Alright, now we're going to say you want to create something that's got a little glow effect to it. For example, your name or something like that. We will use, I don't know, we'll use neon green and white. No, that wouldn't look good. Let's just use red and white. Alright, you can select the text tool, then go over here to, where the hell did my layers go? Oh, I was already on it. Go down here to this little icon for new layer. You can give it a name, a descriptive name for the layer it is, or you can just hit OK and leave it the default name. You can go down here to your, right here on this tool options, and make your font size. Well, I'm going to make my font size really big so that you can see what the hell I'm typing. So anyway, right here, and I don't have the actual linuxintro.com font installed right now. I just installed the latest version of Fedora, so I don't have my my custom font that I wrote installed yet. Never got around to it. Alright, so you've got this little box that says linuxintro.com, or your name, or your grandma's name, or whatever you want. Alright, well, if you want to add an effect to that, what you got to do is, and I used a new layer for the text, but actually text makes its own layer. But what I'm going to do is create another layer anyway, and then type the same thing again. Except this time we need to switch our colors. And if this box right here is already open, well, okay, prove me a liar. Usually if that box is open before you switch colors, you'll have to switch down here, because it won't apply to the text because the box was already open. But it looks like they've changed that too. Alright. And as you can see, the colors or the text is just slightly offset to add some sort of little effect to it. The white is slightly off to the left of the red, but that's not all we're going to do. You go back down to the first one, and as you can see, if you grab this layer and drag it up to the top, it actually comes out on top, obviously, and you can adjust the order that things appear in by moving their layers. Now, another thing is you can edit layers underneath other layers or on top of other layers without affecting the rest of the layers. For example, we can use this blur tool and click on that and grab a ginormous paintbrush. I don't remember creating a 1000 pixel paintbrush. And just blur the crap out of it. Now that's not going to do a whole lot of good because the background layer wasn't that any wider than the foreground, and you probably can't tell what it's doing by looking at the video right now. So what I will do is click on this layer. Now when you start editing a layer like this, or a layer of text, it actually becomes an image layer because it can't read it as text anymore, because you're adding effects to it. It regards it as an image. So if you want to edit the text, you have to undo all of the effects you've done to it before you can edit what's in the text. Alright, so let's grab this one and then come over here and hit copy and paste a few times and move it around. That way we've kind of got the whole thing going all the way around the white characters. Now as you can see, we're copying and pasting the background layer all the way around the foreground layer, so it shows through on all sides of the text on top. And remember, again, the background layer is no longer considered text, it's considered an image. And then you can go further by blurring it further, or if you don't want to sit there and scribble all day with your mouse, just go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and set how blurry you want it to be. I'll set mine about 32 pixels. And it completely alters the background layer without altering the foreground layer. The foreground layer, you can hide it or show it. Same thing with any of the layers. You can hide them and show them. Locking the layers is kind of a good idea to keep all of the layers locked, but locking them doesn't prevent you from editing them like one would think, like I used to think. It actually just prevents you from being able to move them. If you try to move a layer by hitting clicking on the move tool or hitting M and move, it actually moves the entire image, and it's kind of a pain in the ass because I really hit the lock button so I can't accidentally edit a layer. So you got to always be careful which layer you're on, because sometimes you'll be looking at a layer and trying to edit it and wondering why the hell it's not working, and then you'll realize that you're actually selecting, you actually have another layer selected, and then you got to figure out how many times to undo, because you don't know how many times you clicked your damn tool and clicked on the image to edit it, and it's a pain in the ass. I hate that locking it does not prevent you from editing it. But anyway, I've ruined a couple pictures like that. Alright, so that covers the layers, and again, you can move the layers around to arrange the order, and you can delete them. And then a couple other things we're going to get into is the colors. You can click on hue and saturation. I'm only going to cover a couple of them. You can click on hue and saturation to adjust the colors here. If you click on hue, it's like tint on a television. It pretty much changes the end result. And see, as you can see, it's not making a damn bit of difference when I adjust this. I think that's because I got the wrong layer selected again, and I do. See how easy that is to do. I just got done talking about that, and I already did it. Alright, let's try that again. Like I said, it's like adjusting the tint on your television. And lightness adjusts how dark or light it is, obviously. And then saturation adjusts the pretty much the level of color that's in it, how much color or how little. Turning it all the way down will turn it to grayscale, black and white, or black, gray, and white. And then turning it all the way up would saturate it with as much color as it can. And then you can also do some advanced editing by clicking on which channel you want to edit, whether it be red, green, or blue. That's beyond the scope of this little tutorial, and I don't even mess with those options. I always leave it on master and then edit it from there. I've never had to actually get down and select which channel I want to edit. People that do that stuff, I don't know what they do it for, but I'm sure somebody gets use from it. Alright, another thing with colors is brightness and contrast. This comes in handy a lot for me, but I really, off the top of my head, wouldn't know a good example to give you for what you would need this for. So let me see if I can't find it really quickly, an image that could be enhanced with brightness and contrast. Oh, here's one. Not that it would make it any better, but it would be a good example. Let's zoom in on this. Alright, you can see we've got an aqueduct, it looks like. And as you can see, the image is kind of misty. It's kind of, there's no real detail because it's kind of all if that's if you get my drift. Well, anyway, brightness and contrast is pretty much the same thing on your TV. It can adjust how sharp the image is and how dark or bright the image is. And the sharper, the more contrast you give it, the sharper it'll be. But if you keep going too far, you can screw it up, and you can turn a lot of colors into the same color. Or rather, you can turn a lot of similar colors into the same color, which you don't want. And as you can see, that kind of smokes it out. And then brightness and contrast is pretty much exactly what I said. I think a better example, actually, would be one that I use for my desktop, and the top of my desktop too. Right here, this image right here didn't look like that when I got it from what was it, blueblood.net. Where am I? Art, models, goth. let's see if I still have the original image. If so, I'll show you a really good example of contrast.